Ian Woosnam stood on the 18th green at Augusta National with a green jacket on his back and the whole world at his feet. That was 1991. Today, he is 68 years old, no tournaments, no competitive rounds. Just a man sitting at home in Jersey, watching Augusta on television, a course he once owned. Most people see the career stats and think, what a life! 52 wins, world number one, Hall of Fame, a legacy carved in stone. But there is something underneath all of that. Something that was there from the very beginning that most people never knew about. Something that followed him into every single round he ever played and stole from him in ways a scoreboard will never show. And the more you understand what Ian Woosnam was actually carrying throughout his entire career, the more that Green Jacket stops looking like a triumph and starts looking like something far more complicated. Personally, I think this is one of the most underappreciated tragedies in golf history. If you agree or if you think I am wrong, drop your opinion in the comments. I read every single one. And if stories like this are what you come here for, subscribe. There are more coming. Most fans walked away thinking Woosnam simply got old. But that is not what happened. What was actually happening beneath the surface is something far darker, and it started decades before anyone noticed. Because to feel what was lost, you first have to understand what existed. Woosnam was not just another European Tour winner stacking up titles in the early 90s. He was something different. 5 feet 4 inches tall, built like a middleweight boxer, generating clubhead speed that made players 6 inches taller look at each other in confusion. Raw power in a compact frame, and for a period in the late 80s and early 90s, nobody on the planet hit it better. 52 professional victories, 29 on the European Tour alone, 6th all-time on that list. 2 European Order of Merit titles, 8 Ryder Cup appearances as a player, then the captaincy in 2006, where he brought Europe home as winners at the PGA Club. April 1991 arrived and defined everything. He arrived at Augusta that Monday ranked 2nd in the world. By Sunday evening, he was wearing the green jacket and had claimed the world number 1 ranking in the same breath. The only Welshman in history to win a major championship. A record that still stands today 3 decades later, with no one close to touching it. That 1991 Masters was not a lucky week. It was the peak of a man operating at the absolute ceiling of his ability, driving with terrifying precision, putting with ice-cold nerve, handling Augusta's pressure the way only a handful of players ever have. But here is what the record books do not show. Every single round in that career, every birdie, every major contention, every Ryder Cup point, was played while something was slowly, permanently breaking inside him. Because what was breaking had been breaking since long before Augusta, and he never once let it show. The question is how long he had actually been hiding it. The answer changes everything you thought you knew about his career. Ankylosing spondylitis. Most people have never heard of it. Woosnam lived with it for his entire adult life. It is an inflammatory disease that attacks the spine, gradually, relentlessly, without mercy. The vertebrae do not just ache. Over time, they begin fusing together. The spaces between them narrow. The joints lock. Movement that should be automatic becomes a negotiation between your body and your brain. And some days, your body simply refuses the terms. For a professional golfer, the spine is everything. The rotation, the coil, the release. Every element of a golf swing runs directly through the structure this disease was systematically destroying. There is no cure. There has never been a cure. You manage it, you fight it, you medicate around it, but you never beat it. Woosnam spent decades doing exactly that, managing, fighting, medicating. What makes this land differently when you sit with it? He was not playing through ordinary soreness or the kind of back stiffness every tour player complains about on a cold morning. He was playing through a progressive, incurable, degenerative disease that was physically altering his spine with each passing year. Every tournament, every Ryder Cup, every Sunday leaderboard charge, all of it in pain. His competitors knew him as one of the most naturally gifted ball strikers of his generation. What they did not know, what almost nobody knew, was that the man generating that effortless power was doing it while his spine was being taken from him year by year. For years, he kept winning anyway. A disease with no cure does not negotiate forever. Eventually, it stops giving and starts taking. When it finally came for Woosnam properly, the timing was almost unbearably cruel. Augusta National, 2016. 25 years after the green jacket, Woosnam walked those same hills he had conquered at 33. Only now every step was a conversation. With pain he could no longer manage privately. He shot 82 and 81. Those numbers do not tell the story. What tells the story is what he said afterward. I am in pain all the way round, so it is time to say bye-bye really, not retirement. Not a prepared statement with careful words, just a man, exhausted, being honest for the first time publicly about what every round had actually cost him. He had played Augusta 12 consecutive times, making the cut between 1989 and 2000, and now he could barely walk the hills. That goodbye should have been the end. Except Woosnam could not stay away, and what happened when he came back made the 2016 farewell look almost merciful by comparison. He returned in 2017. Then 2018, Augusta kept pulling him back, because for Woosnam, walking those fairways was the closest thing left to feeling like himself again. Each return was harder than the last. By 2019, after missing his 11th consecutive cut, he stood in front of reporters and said something that carried the full weight of a man finally running out of fight. I know I have said this before, but this time it feels like the end. I want to enjoy playing, but I just cannot. It is too bad, really. I am playing well, so it is really disappointing. Read that again slowly. He was playing well. His hand still had it. His mind still had it. The only thing failing him was the body he had been fighting against for 20 years, and it was winning. That looked like the final chapter. Then in 2020, a doctor offered him something nobody had offered before, and for one brief moment, it looked like the story might actually change. Her name was Dr. Deborah Blades. She recommended spinal decompression surgery, a procedure to relieve the pressure building on his lumbar nerves. By that point, the pain had spread far enough that Woosnam was beginning to lose strength in his left leg. This time felt different. Surgery came in 2020. Recovery was slow and difficult, but on the other side of it, Woosnam described something he had not experienced in 2 decades, movement without constant agony. He said afterward, I guess I should have had this surgery years ago. In 2021, he returned to Augusta one final time. His goal stated plainly, just to try and play the course without being in any pain, really. Because I have been in pain for the last 20 years playing around here. He missed the cut, but he walked Augusta National without agony for the first time in his adult life. He outscored Sandy Lyle, Fred Couples, Vijay Singh, and Larry Mees. At 63 years old, post-surgery, competing purely for the love of it, he still had something. Then in January 2022, a single tweet, no press conference, no ceremony, no standing ovation from the galleries he had thrilled for 4 decades. Just these words, it is time for me to watch the young guys play. That tweet deserved a standing ovation. It got a few retweets. Right there, in that silent, undramatic exit, is where the real tragedy finally reveals itself. Because what life looks like at 68 is something nobody prepared him for. From the outside, 68 looks comfortable. A Hall of Famer in Jersey. Well-earned rest, a life full of memories most golfers would trade everything for. But ankylosing spondylitis does not retire when you do. The fusing continues. The stiffness deepens. The mornings get harder. At 68, Woosnam is not simply a retired golfer living peacefully. He is a man still fighting the same opponent he has been fighting since before most of his fans were born. Except now there is no green jacket waiting on the other side, no leaderboard to climb, no Augusta crowd to earn, just the disease, still moving forward, and a man who has run out of competitions to pour himself into. That is what 68 looks like for Ian Woosnam. Not the age of peace most people imagine for a Hall of Famer, the age where the only battle left has no trophy. His career was built on a spine the disease was destroying in real time. Every major fought through inflammation that had no off switch, every Ryder Cup point earned while his vertebrae were being fused together without his permission. He achieved what most healthy athletes never come close to, and did it carrying something that would have ended most careers before they started. The fully healthy version of Ian Woosnam, the one who could have rotated freely, swung without bracing for pain, trained without consequence. That golfer never competed. Not once. Not even for a single tournament. He won the Masters anyway. That is the tragedy. Not the missed cuts. Not the forced retirements. Not the silent tweet. The tragedy is that the greatest version of Ian Woosnam never got to exist, and the version that did exist was extraordinary enough to reach the very top of the sport regardless. At 68, he lives with both of those truths simultaneously, what he achieved, and what was taken before he ever had the chance to find out how far he could truly go. I genuinely believe Woosnam's story is one of the most overlooked in European golf history. A man who fought something unbeatable for 40 years and never once asked for sympathy. If that lands with you, leave a comment below. And if you want more stories told this way, subscribe. These are the ones worth telling.